Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's session, we'll be diving into further other Linux commands such as mv, cp, rm, and move. These commands would allow you to effectively remove, move, as well as rename files and folders which are located within your Linux working environment. To begin with, I will be talking about the rm command. The rm command is a command which is utilized in the process of removing certain files or directories. In order to execute this, you basically type rm followed by the name of the file that you would like to remove. In this case, I would like to remove file1.txt. If I type file1.txt with the rm command and I hit enter, and let's see, you can see that file1.txt has been removed. Similarly, the rm command can also be unconventionally be used in order to remove directories as well. However, instead of that, it is recommended that you utilize the rmdir command, which is useful in order to remove directories. In this case, if I want to get a bird's eye view of my present working directory file system, you would basically use something called as the tree command. In order to install it, you basically type sudo apt install tree if it is not already installed on your pre-installed on your Windows subsystem for Linux. When you hit enter, it will ask you for a password. Promptly enter the password. It will basically update or install the tree command. And yeah, in this case, if I want to remove a specific directory, let's say rmdir, let's say I want to remove file3 directory on my present working directory, I would basically use the rmdir command. However, rm command can also be used for the same. When you type rm, let's create a new folder, rm demo, mkdir demo. Let's type ls. You can see that demo file exists. Let's create a new file called file1.txt within demo file1.txt and then hit enter. ls3. You can see that file1.txt has been created. Now I would like to remove the contents of demo. In order to do that, you can use a tag called -r. Now what does -r do? -r basically instructs the kernel that it wants to execute, that the user wants to recursively remove the contents of the specified directory in a recursive manner. So it will go inside the directory which is demo, and it will delete all the contents as well as followed by the prompt deletion of the demo directory itself as a final execution. So let's say if I type rm-r and demo and let's say ls, you can see that that particular file has been removed. However, sometimes what happens is that it would also ask you before the operating system when sometimes will reject the deletion of a content that has some information written within it. So under that circumstance, let's create this particular file again just for the sake of the demonstration. Let's say we write some data. Hi there into demo txt. Okay, let's see what went wrong. Okay, let's see what went wrong. Okay, if you want to delete this specific file, you would basically also use something called as rm -r and f followed by the specific directory in our case. So when you do this, it would basically go ahead and forcefully delete this particular folder along with its contents in a recursive manner. When you hit enter and when you hit ls, you can see that the demo directory has been removed. This is a forceful way of deletion which requires some level of confirmation to be given from the user. Therefore, you basically specify that rm followed by hyphen with the r command for recursive deletion with f added to it in order to recursively and forcefully delete the contents of the specified directories. The rm command can also be utilized in with the deletion of files in a manner which does not require you to type multiple times. For example, if you have several files which end with .txt files which are of no longer use, you can basically specify a wildcard character followed by the .txt extension. Let's say in this scenario I will have to create a new file to .txt and let's say ls. Okay, sorry, I'll have to rename it to 3 or file 4.txt ls. Let's say I want to remove all these .txt files. You would basically type rm the wildcard, which is asterisk symbol, which specifies 0 or more values, 0 or more than 1 values, which can be any name, any string term followed by the txt extension. So the rm command would basically look for all the files which end with the .txt file, and when you hit enter, it would basically remove all those files at once. Therefore, you do not have to redundantly type each of these words, each of these commands one by one for each unique file. Similarly, you might have also come across the idea that maybe this command is a bit too destructive, and if you use it accidentally, you might delete some essential files, which is highly less than convenient, let's say in a working environment setting. So under that scenario, you would basically use another tag. What a surprise! Another tag -i, which would basically ask for a prompt from the user for a confirmation, asking whether the file that he or she has chosen, are you okay with it if it is getting deleted? That's kind of question, like, are you okay closing a file? You might have seen this before. Whenever you close a doc file, there's a prompt which asks whether you like to save. This is somewhat similar to that. So when you type, let's create a new file 1.txt, let's say file txt, and when you type rm -i followed by file.txt, it would essentially prompt you, the user, whether you would like to remove this empty file. Under this case, there are two options. If you write no, n, or whatever, or 0, whatever, anything of negative value, it would take it as a confirmation that the user would not want to delete this specific file. When you hit enter and when you type ls, you would see that this file has not been deleted. Again, when you type the same command and when you type yes, this specific file would no longer exist. So you can see that it is highly advised, especially whenever you're using destructive commands which involve the deletion of certain data, especially rm, rmdir, whatever. It is highly useful that you use it with the -i tag, which basically prevents accidental data deletion. So as to summarize, rm command is a command which basically allows you to delete files, folders as well, with the help of certain tags, which gives us further flexibility, such as by using -r, which is used for recursive deletion of the contents of a directory, or with the help of r-f, which is for forceful deletion, as well as it can be combined with a wildcard character such as *.txt or *.doc or whatever it is. If you begin with an asterisk symbol followed by the extension, of the specific redundant files which exist within your present working directory or a specific location, all those files will be removed. Similarly, if you utilize rm with -i, it would prompt you to the user, in this case, whether or he or she would like to execute, or if you are whether sure whether you want to execute this specific command. Therefore, it gives you the ability to destroy data. Moving on to the next command is the cp command. The cp command is a command which is used for the process of copying data, which is files and directories, from the source location to the specific destination directory. In this case, if you have, let's create a new file txt ls, and we would like to, let's say we want to move file.txt to a subdirectory. So we would basically type cp file.txt followed by the directory where you want to send it to, and when you hit enter, and let's say we type tree, you can see that a copy of file has been made and has been created within subdirectory that we specified. Similarly, you can also copy multiple files at a time from one location to another. Let's say we have a variety of files such as .txt and .sh files within the directory var, and now we would like to copy it to, let's say, let's create a new directory demo for the purposes of this demonstration, and let's move into var. And let us say now we want to copy these files log.txt and script.sh into, let's say, demo that we just created. In order to do so, I would highly recommend you to always specify the full path followed by ending with the directory. When you hit enter, one important thing that I forgot to mention is the use of dot and tilde symbol. The dot symbol is usually used to specify the relative path, the absolute path of the folder within the present working directory environment. If you basically use tilde symbol, this basically is a placeholder value for the full path beginning with the root to the current location. Therefore, that's why it gave me the error that .directory / demo, despite the current directory. We know that this directory exists, but sometimes it is important that the system is required to be given this specific full path. Therefore, that is why this distinction between / and then the directory name, or tilde / directory, there is a distinction between the uses. So when you hit enter, you would see that these two files have been copied. Let's go back and type tree. You can see that log.txt and script.sh have been copied into demo file. So you can see that these two exist. Similarly, you can also copy entire directories into other subdirectories. So let us say the same files which are contained within var, I do not need to execute the previous command. I can just pick this var file, make a copy, and then move it into another subdirectory. Let's say I want to move the var file into the var folder into subdirectory. For that, you would again use our good old friend -r, so as to recursively copy the contents of var as well as the var folder, into subdirectory. When you hit enter, ls tree, you can see that this entire file folder var has been copied along with its contents to subdirectory. This is the process of doing so. However, sometimes you want to also preserve certain attributes which are associated with these files when you are copying them. So what are these attributes? Well, let me show you. If you type ls along with that certain tag -l, if you are not aware already, it will show you all the details associated with each of these specific folders and files. And each of these files and folders have special privileges, links, owner group information, bytes information, as well as the date of last modification associated with them. And in order to copy that specific data, which can be useful with regards to certain scenarios, which is unique, we can also do that. So let's say I have the data from, let's say we basically copy I guess documents which have been previously modified in January. Let's say I want to copy the privilege the attributes. I want to preserve these attributes, and so let's say I want to move documents into this folder or directory. So in this case I will basically write cp along with a tag or an option called as -p. Let's say preserve. We are trying to preserve, so -p is short form for preserving, so you can quickly memorize that. So let's say we are moving documents into directory. When you hit enter, so again one more thing, you always need to specify R. So this is, as I have previously mentioned, it would recursively go in and copy the contents of the desired file into the target file. So for the purposes of that, you need to specify R. When you hit enter, it would do this required. And when you hit enter, you can see that the documents folder along with its subdirectories and the workdir.sh has successfully been copied into the directory, preserving the attributes as well. For the purposes of confirmation, let's go in and check our, let's see, slash for the purposes of this video, let's go in and check the contents of let's -l. So you can see that the data has been preserved. Moving on to a command called mv. This command is a command which is utilized in the process of moving files and directories from one location to another, which is kind of similar to cp, but you can also utilize it to rename certain files. In this case, let's say I have file.txt which is located in my present working directory, and I would like to move it to file2 and rename it as new file. So you can do the same with mv file.txt and move it into file2, and let's say, as I have previously mentioned, new file.txt, we are renaming it as new file.txt, and when you hit enter, you can see that this file was renamed as new file.txt and now happily exists within file2. And you can do the same pretty much for moving directories as well. Let's say I want to move subdirectory into preserve. So for the purposes of that, you basically write mv and the source directory along with the whole path. When you hit enter, see, yeah, so you can see the same has been achieved. The same thing, you should recall that whenever you move files, you are also at the risk of overwriting certain files. Let's say I create touch new file .txt and I write some data into new file. Wait a minute to check. Yeah, let's just do this. Yeah, wait a minute, you can just type hi. Let's just type some random letters and I exit this. Yeah, and if I try to move this new file .txt into file 2, and when I hit enter, you can see that I have just effectively right now replaced new file.txt. So let's say file 2. So you can see that our empty file has now been replaced with hi.txt. Similar to rm, you would preferably be more safe whenever you use the -i tag along with these commands, because there's a chance your data, if it by for some reason has the same name. For example, if you have I guess work file doc file and a newly created doc file from another location which you might have recently created, and if you remove it within this Linux system, it is likely that it would get replaced. Therefore, it is essential that you combine these commands with a prompted mode with the help of I, so as to get a prompt in order to make sure that whenever you make these kinds of moves or file creation or movement or deletion, you are making sure that no other file or data is getting affected. Similarly, if you can also move multiple files at a time, let's guess, which is kind of similar to what you have done with other commands. Let's say I create file 1.txt, file 2.txt, and let's say file 3.txt as well. I can move these files with the help of the special character as well. So let's move all the txt files at my present working directory into, let's say, demo. So I can type demo, and when I hit enter, you can see that all the file.txts have been moved from my present working directory into demo. Yeah, so this is pretty much the end of it. I hope you learned a lot, and yeah, I'll see you until next time. Bye.